Hello, Muggles and Mocha world. I am so excited for today's video because we are covering the Hogwarts houses. And this one has been one of my favorite articles to write, my favorite thing to research, because who doesn't love the Hogwarts houses? I mean, I know before Pottermore was a thing, I took a ton of tests on like a lot of Harry Potter gaming websites to see which house I would be in, because it just gives us a sense of community within this world that we're all reading about. So I'm super stoked to talk about that with you today. If you are new here, welcome. We're a Harry Potter book club. We nerd out. We dig deep into the Harry Potter books. So there will be spoilers in case this is your first time. There's spoilers. We connect things in the Harry Potter world to the entire series. And this book club is actually connected to my editing website, MadisonKDarby.com. Check that out if you're an aspiring writer and are looking for some editing services. I can help you there. And I also actually release articles every week that are geared toward writers. So look at that as well. If you enjoy this video or the articles, please like and subscribe, and you can follow me on social media, which is all on my website as well if you're looking for those. So, like I said, definitely along with this video, check out the article for this week. I dive into each Hogwarts house and give a lot of interesting information. As we're going to see, I'm going to go into that a little bit in the video too. And go ahead and take the sorting test on Wizarding World, and then you can go read about your house and see what you think about it. You know, does this house fit you? Do you have qualities that belong in other houses? It's so fun. Okay, today we are going through chapter 7 of the first Harry Potter book, The Sorting Hat. You get Harry arriving at Hogwarts, going through the sorting ceremony, meeting the people that are going to be in his house, and just acclimating to Hogwarts in his first night there. Oh, and before I forget, have my coffee with me today. I've already drunk a lot of it as I was getting ready to record this video. I have like a collection of these. My husband and I got them when we got married as a wedding present. And they have like different Bible verses written on them. So this one says, "Be still and know that I am God." Psalm 46:10. I love these mugs. So get your coffee ready. Let's get started. So at the beginning of chapter 7, Harry goes through the door. He meets Professor McGonagall, and all of the first years are worried about how they're going to be sorted. And can I just say, this part of the book is weird. How did no one know about the Sorting Hat? He's important. He wasn't in Hogwarts history? What do you mean? Like, maybe Hermione just doesn't speak up here, but it seems like a lot of the first years are worried about what the sorting ceremony is going to entail. Like it's going to be a test. At least that's what Ron says. And Ron, okay, I get that Fred and George would play a joke on him and like make him think that it was going to be something different, something hard, painful. But okay, did his parents not say anything in his first 11 years of life about... I don't know. Like, I don't understand how he doesn't know about the Sorting Hat, or that no one says anything. The rant stick is back. It's a permanent fixture of these videos, so just be prepared. I'll be picking it up a lot in this video. And then the first years go into the Great Hall, which is one of the main places in Hogwarts I wish I could see, with the floating candles and the night sky. Gosh, so beautiful. And then we meet the Sorting Hat. Now, I go over the Sorting Hat a lot in this article. The article I wrote for this week, I'll be including that in the description of this video so you can find it there. So I won't talk about it too much, but basically it is a skilled legilimens that is imbued with the knowledge of the four founders, so that it can pick students that the founders would have picked even after they are gone. So basically when you put it on, it can tell everything about your personality, a mind reader, if you will, sorting through, who you are as a person. There is something called a hat stall, which is where the sorting hat takes more than 5 minutes to decide where someone is going to be. The only two that we actually know of are Professor McGonagall, which is cool. She was almost put into Ravenclaw. And she's such a proud Gryffindor. Like, so glad she ended up in Gryffindor, really. And then Peter Pettigrew, actually, who was between Gryffindor and Slytherin. Okay, how did he get in Gryffindor, though? Oh my gosh, Peter Pettigrew. I do not like him. I mean, I know in the end he has a moment of like not gonna kill Harry, and then he, his hand, he dies. All right, like he's punished for it in some way. But I think it was just a moment of hesitation. I don't think that shows bravery. I don't know. I think it's questionable. That's all I'm gonna say about it. Moving on. Okay, and now the majority of this video is going to be diving into the 4 houses. I'm not going to include every single thing I put in the article because it's in the article, so just click down there to read all of the different details about your house. What I'm going to be focusing on is my thoughts about the houses and some interesting facts about them. Let's just dive in. The order I go through is Gryffindor, Hufflepuff, Ravenclaw, and Slytherin. There are no biases. I just say them like that in my head. So we're gonna start with good old Gryffindor. They are mascots, the lion, scarlet and gold. They are the brave house, I guess you could say. The traits that I wrote down for them in the article based on the Sorting Hat's song is courage, chivalry, daring, and nerve. So there you go. Do we have a lot of Gryffindors out there? Write in the comments below. I actually don't meet very many Gryffindors, weirdly enough. I meet a lot of Hufflepuffs and Ravenclaws. I think that is the majority of the people I meet. So if you're a Gryffindor, shout it out. I really like Gryffindor. I know a lot of people that like hold hard feelings against Gryffindor because it is the main house that's talked about, and it's like the noble house, and they always seem to win everything, and the coolest people are in Gryffindor in the books. But I'm actually okay with that because this series is focusing on Harry. It's about Harry, and he is in Gryffindor. So like, of course we're gonna hear about Gryffindor. That's the people he's going to meet. That's why in the first couple of books especially, we focus on Gryffindor students, because I think that you make more friends over time, but you start with like a smaller circle. So I think that's why we meet more Gryffindors in the books, especially in the beginning. And I will throw this out there. J.K. Rowling is in Gryffindor, and I think, obviously she identifies with this house, so she would be a bit partial in writing about them, along with them, being Harry's friend group, and they support Harry at the end of the book in the battle against Voldemort. Like, I don't know, it just makes a lot of sense that they would be the ones that are written about. And I like Gryffindors. I do. They're talked about being reckless, but I think it's like an endearing type of recklessness. And I think you see that, you see that from Harry throughout the books, that he is brave to the point of reckless. And I think we love that about him. So Gryffindor, you're great. I like you a lot. Your bravery, and I think that they're overall like kind people. You don't meet a lot of people in Gryffindor in the books anyway that you just don't like. So I'm good with Gryffindor. Yay. Go Lions. I don't know. So the next house is good old Hufflepuff. We're going to be talking about Hufflepuff. I hope I don't talk about them too much, but I have strong feelings about Hufflepuff, okay? So they're the Badgers. Oh God. Okay, I gotta tell y'all something. For the article, I didn't want to put just the usual house pictures for, like the titles of each house. I found pictures that I thought showed who they were, whether it was their mascot, Most of them were the mascots or something else, which for Hufflepuff, I chose a golden picture that has like wheat in it, and I'll get into why. I thought that the color scheme really went with them. And honestly, I looked up pictures. I looked at pictures of badgers and I just could not. I could not. It's like they're just staring. Like I couldn't do it. Okay. They are just, loyal, patient, true, and diligent. That was my interpretation for unafraid of toil, which, oh my gosh, I just need to hold this the whole time. This entire section is going to be a rant. These are great qualities. Why do people look down on Hufflepuff all the time? Like, actually, we're going to talk about that. We are going to talk about that. But I think that these are great qualities. Like, they're not lazy. I think that people think that they're lazy. I've heard that said a lot. They're straight up, J.K. Rowling says, unafraid of toil. That means they're not afraid of hardship or work or... Okay. Like, they're the good people house. They're nice. They stick up for people. They are kind. Like, all right, we're going to jump into this. My thoughts. I'm going to kind of summarize what I said in the article. Like, I think Hufflepuff was underrated in the books. And thankfully, people are coming around because I think a lot of people are getting Hufflepuff on the Wizarding World quiz. You've got Newt Scamander in Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. He is a Hufflepuff, and actually his brother is as well, which I thought was interesting. And then a lot of people, like in the first book, Hagrid says that people think Hufflepuff are a lot of duffers. Like, why? That is the question I asked myself as I wrote this article, but I think it's because Hufflepuffs don't have as aggressive of a personality. Like, you got Gryffindor. I mean, I'm not meaning aggressive in a bad way, but you have like definitive, like they're strong-willed, you know? And then there's Ravenclaw, kind of the same thing. Like, they're known for being very studious and determined and, you know, stuff like that. Other aggressive personalities. And then Slytherin. Do I even need to say anything? Aggressive personality. Like, so then you have Hufflepuff, which are the people who are, I don't want to say soft-spoken, but maybe, like, I think a lot of them would be soft-spoken, not needing to put themselves out there, whatever. And people have taken that to mean that they're just not as capable. I don't understand. I don't understand Hufflepuffs. Okay, yeah, I feel strongly about this. And I would love to be a Hufflepuff, okay? They seem like they'd be great friends, nice people, they're loyal. I don't get it. I don't get all the hate. But I think we're getting past that as a generation. I think that we love Hufflepuff now, okay? I know a lot of Hufflepuffs, and I know a lot of people who stick up for them, so yeah. And actually, I do want to point this out. Coming back to the badger, I was a little confused. I was like, why did J.K. Rowling choose this animal? Especially after looking up pictures of them. I just didn't get it. But I found an article about it. There you go. And I think she chose it because it super sums up who Hufflepuffs are and the way people treat them. This is a direct quote from the Harry Potter fandom website. It says, like the house it represents, the badger is often underestimated and deemed non-threatening because it is not generally aggressive unless provoked, at which point it can and will viciously fight off threats even larger than itself. This symbolism was perhaps showcased best in the Battle of Hogwarts, where many Hufflepuffs stayed to fight and defend their school with only Gryffindor outnumbering them. So yeah, Hufflepuffs are just meant to be underestimated, I guess, and that is their lot. And it does explain maybe why people think of them the way they do. And maybe, you know, I don't think it was J.K. Rowling's intention to not give them any credit. I mean, obviously, with this article being written, you know, she was trying to accomplish a purpose and show a point that is shown throughout the book, I guess. So, yeah. But that's Hufflepuff. Loyal, just great people. Just great people. Then you have Ravenclaw, which is my house. So, go Ravenclaw. Yay. I wore my little bird earrings. I have some navy blue on. I have a Ravenclaw scarf, but I could not find it, which was super disappointing, but oh well, you gotta do what you can do. Their mascot is the eagle, which, what? I think I forgot. And then you got the traits. They are wise, intelligent, witty, studious, and curious. And I do think that I sound like I'm not very wise or intelligent or anything, but I think that I do have some of the qualities. Like, I am a very curious person, and I love research and studying and all of that. So maybe this fits. Here are my thoughts about Ravenclaw. I mean, obviously, I like it. I am one of them. I do think, especially when it comes to Ravenclaw, I think this in the books, I think that when we discover a person's house, we kind of pigeonhole them. For instance, with Ravenclaw, it's all about studying all the time, having your head buried in a book, almost like a sense of, not entitlement, but thinking you're better than everyone else because you're smarter or you're a know-it-all. And that's just not true. I think that even in the Ravenclaws we see in the book, think about Luna Lovegood and her dad. It's eccentrics and people who are just curious about the world. I think that comes into it a lot too. So along with being smart, you have people who are just constantly wanting to learn, I think is the main thing you should take away there. And just don't think that Ravenclaws are stuck up. Just don't pigeonhole people, okay? No matter their house. I think that we all have a very well-rounded personality that can identify with a lot of different people, even if they are in a different house. Then we have Slytherin, and we're going to spend a little bit of time on that, not just because I'm going to talk about it a little, but we have a guest. He is coming. We're going to talk about Slytherin. It is my husband, Bishop. I'm very excited. So we'll have a little bit of information from an actual Slytherin because, as you will see, I just don't think I'm going to do a good job at really showing the positives of the house. Okay, I just wanted an actual Slytherin here to do that because I didn't think I was good at it. So the traits, they are cunning, ambitious, full of self-preservation, and they are also resourceful. Not bad traits when you first look at them, honestly. So my thoughts on Slytherin. As you'll see from the article, I apologize a lot. I do want to like the house. It's just hard because in my research for the house, there's just a lot of bad stuff. Like, especially when it comes to its origins with Salazar Slytherin, he was just super bad. And there aren't very many Muggle-borns. I mean, I guess there were some, but they're known for not having Muggle-borns in their house. I feel like a lot of pure-blood supremacists are in Slytherin. Maybe that's just a coincidence that we see in the book, but... and this house has produced the most dark wizards. And when Harry first gets to Hogwarts and he is in the Great Hall, he describes the Slytherins as like looking bad. Like just a mean bunch of people. So it just seems like a lot of them aren't good. It's just hard, okay? But I do think that they're misunderstood. And I think that their personality traits are great and are ones that propel you to greatness. You know, as the Sorting Hat says, like, Slytherin will put you on the way to greatness because it is all about ambition and accomplishing things. But I think that when you put a group of people together who are all like that, they just bring out the worst in each other. And I think that's kind of what happens to Slytherins, unfortunately. I think that's what it comes down to. Like, Slytherins can bring out the worst in each other. Like, they're cunning, which can be good, but then it turns to like being malicious. And I got to admit, they're loyal to each other, which is another thing that can work against them in this, because if you're really loyal to people that aren't good, it can rub off on you. You have a lot of bad influences, okay? That's all I'm saying. And it can affect you for the worst. So Slytherins just have to watch out for that, I think. Maybe don't surround yourself with Slytherins. Oh my gosh. Like, see, I think that a group of people that would be like from each house, like a group of 4 friends, would be the ideal. Because not only will you bring like your talents to the table, but then the other people around you can bring out talents that you didn't even know you had, or bring out the best in you. And I think that's what Slytherins need to do. They need to branch out. They need to have a different friend group, especially like in Snape's day. You know, when Voldemort was rising, or a lot of people were gravitating toward him, a lot of Death Eaters were at Hogwarts and they were in Slytherin, like a lot of them. So if you're surrounded by Death Eaters, they're gonna... I don't feel like I need to defend myself anymore on this. I think I make sense. Okay, but I like Slytherins. I think they can really be good people when put in the right situations, and just being... just analyzing themselves. Although, isn't that true for all of us? Like, you always have to have like self-reflection toward who you are and where your heart is. And I think that's all Slytherins need to do too. So those are kind of my main thoughts about them. Yeah. Maybe J.K. Rowling just didn't do them a lot of favors in the book and didn't show us very good Slytherins. Okay, so you've heard my thoughts on Slytherin, which admittedly are kind of biased and not very good. So that is why I wanted to bring someone here who actually is a Slytherin and can talk to us about it in a more objective way. You know, he can give us a positive spin on it. That's all I'm saying. But it is my husband, Bishop Darby, and here he is. And look.
Hello.
And he's all decked out in his
got my prefect
Slytherin
badge. I'm ready to go.
Yeah, and we have our matching mugs. So, to start, how do you feel being in Slytherin?
So, it's very accurate to my personality. I'm an Enneagram 3. For those of you who know anything about the Enneagram, you should go read it, because it's basically like you're reading out of a Slytherin description. But no, I think Slytherin is an accurate depiction of who I am. Ambitious, self-motivated, desiring to be the best at whatever I'm doing. And at its core, those aren't bad qualities.
No. There's a lot of successful people are like that. Like, it's driving towards success.
Augustus Caesar, he would have been probably a Slytherin.
He would have definitely been a Slytherin. What's the worst thing, or the thing you least like that people say about Slytherin? Like generalizations.
That we're evil. I get that a lot. In fact, where I used to live, I had a bunch of friends that when I took the Pottermore test and it put me in Slytherin, they all looked at me and said, "But you're so nice." As if I couldn't be a Slytherin and be nice. So I think that bothers me. I think it's because we're just misunderstood. We're really marginalized because, like, our desire to be successful is intimidating to others. Generally speaking, if I don't know this for a fact, I'm sure we can look this up at some point, that if we were to find the Ministry of Magic, who all in the Ministry of Magic, what houses they were in, I would imagine they'd be predominantly Gryffindor or Slytherin. Yeah. Gryffindor because of their boldness, and Slytherin because of their ambition, because of their desire and their drive. So I don't think we're evil. I think we just intimidate the lesser houses, like Hufflepuff.
Wait, hold on. Lesser houses? That doesn't...
Hufflepuff.
Less aggressive houses? That's how I view Hufflepuff. I think they're just less aggressive.
Sorry, Hufflepuffers, but Hufflepuff.
So what are you most proud of when it comes to being a Slytherin?
Yeah, so I think I know this is going to sound weird, and media world, don't judge me for this, but I kind of like the cunning nature of a Slytherin. How we're taught, like in our house, to be cunning, deceptive if necessary. And I know those sound like bad qualities, but it's often what allows us to be really good problem solvers. When something's placed before us, we often can think quicker and faster than other houses, with the exception of maybe Ravenclaw. But even Ravenclaw,
you can think faster.
But even Ravenclaw lacks a certain self-confidence to take the quick step. Ravenclaw, to use an example, would be the one to stand outside of a narrow pathway and try to figure out for hours how they're going to maneuver it, whereas the Slytherins can quickly process what we're going to do and take the first step. Right, wrong, or indifferent. That's kind of our quality. It's a quick, cunning, and often confident first step that I like a lot about being a Slytherin.
And you know, I think that comes into your personality when it comes to you communicating with people. Bishop works as a minister.
I know.
I'm not saying.
I know.
Okay,
I know.
okay,
I know what you're thinking. Yes, you can be a Slytherin and a minister.
Yeah. There you go. But I think he brings some of the qualities into your job. He's a very good, like he said, problem solver. But then problem solver when it comes to communicating with people and helping them solve problems and like having hard conversations, but steering it in the right direction. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't want to throw around.
Manipulative? Is that the word you...
It's good. Like a way to comfort people when they're talking about something hard. And I think that kind of comes into it too.
Yeah.
That's where the good qualities can...
The good quality of Slytherin.
Play in.
Manipulation.
Oh, God.
I think you have, in the example of like Harry, Ron, and Hermione, I think you have 3 houses' strengths and weaknesses clearly on display.
Yeah.
Like, I think Harry brings out the best in Slytherin while also embodying Gryffindor. I think Ron embodies the best of Gryffindor and Hufflepuff.
Yeah.
And
I think that
Hermione is Ravenclaw and Gryffindor. And so I think that, you know, like you said, I think all of us have attributes of other houses, though predominantly we are one. And so I think it's very plausible for a Slytherin to embody the best of Hufflepuff, maybe, or Ravenclaw and Gryffindor, while also maintaining a predominant devotion or affection or affiliation with Slytherin. I think that's where I kind of fit in. I think I find myself more of being a Slytherin and rather than just pure Slytherin. No one's pure anything.
Yeah. I guess that's true. But anyway, thank you for coming. I appreciate it. He might be on more videos probably because this is fun and I like it. So thank you.
No problem. No problem.
Oh, goodbye. Bye. Okay, I'm so glad we got to talk to Bishop. That was so fun. I love him. I mean, okay, of course I do. But, you know, find you someone who loves Harry Potter. Love Harry Potter. Love being married to someone who loves Harry Potter. It's great. So, now that we've talked about the houses briefly, I know I've already said this, please check out the article. It's so fun and it'll give you more information than what I just spit out. So you can check it out there. Back to Harry. We left him alone for a while, so back to him. He is placed in Gryffindor after a brief conversation with the Sorting Hat. And I talk about this a tiny bit in the article, but we're going to come back to it in the second book primarily because that's when all of this kind of starts taking place. But this moment where Harry is almost placed in Slytherin really comes back to haunt him, and it floods into this identity crisis that he has, especially when he discovers the similarities between him and Voldemort. Like, it's scary. It's very scary for him, and in his mind, I think that he really identifies Slytherin with Voldemort, which maybe is why we get the bias we do against Slytherin. And he is just determined that he does not belong in there. And, you know, would he really have done well in Slytherin? Like, what does that mean for him? Like, who is he? Gosh. Like I said, we won't dive into it now. I know I said that a lot, but the second book, okay? It's coming. It's coming closer. And we'll talk about it a bit there, and it'll continue throughout the rest of the series. So as we finish up this chapter, we find out some of the Hogwarts rules. We get to hear Dumbledore talk. We get the different idiosyncrasies of Dumbledore throughout this chapter. We learn a little bit about the third floor corridor. Not much, just that it's forbidden, painful death, all that stuff, all that foreshadowing. We get that thrown out there. We also see Snape, which we are talking about him next week, and it's gonna get real, y'all. So I'm not gonna talk about him at all today because, gosh, it is gonna get real. I'll go ahead and tell you, we're kind of starting a question that is gonna follow us through the entire book series, and it's the question, is Snape a redeemable character or not? And if he is, how so? Is he completely redeemable? What do you think? And it has been so fun researching him, y'all. I'm gonna learn so much through this process. We are gonna learn so much. We're gonna talk about Snape. It'll be fun. Then Harry goes to bed after going to the Gryffindor common room. Okay, so then we have the last paragraph of the chapter. Okay, it's a dream that Harry is having, so we'll start there. Perhaps Harry had eaten a bit too much because he had a very strange dream. He was wearing Professor Quirrell's turban, which kept talking to him, telling him he must transfer to Slytherin at once because it was his destiny. Gosh, meaningful in more ways than one. Harry told the turban he didn't want to be in Slytherin. It got heavier and heavier. He tried to pull it off, but it tightened painfully, and there was Malfoy, laughing at him as he struggled with it. Then Malfoy turned into the hook-nosed teacher, Snape, whose laugh became high and cold. There was a burst of green light, and Harry woke, sweating and shaking. He rolled over and fell asleep again, and when he woke the next day, he didn't remember the dream at all. What a coincidence! That's an important dream. And actually, we're going to talk about this a little bit next week. I know I said I wasn't going to talk about Snape, but, you know, like he sees Snape in his dream, and then his laugh becomes high and cold, which we know is like signature Voldemort laugh. And I think that this first book really solidifies in Harry's mind something he can't get rid of, which is that Snape is a bad guy, and always identifying him with the dark arts and with Voldemort, even from the very beginning. Like, he hadn't even talked to Snape yet, and we already get that. So that's a theme that is really played up throughout the rest of the books until Snape dies. Honestly, we get it the whole time. So yeah, interesting last paragraph there. And that is that. What a fun chapter, and a shorter chapter, you know, like we can just get a lot out of these chapters, even if they're not long. I had so much fun talking about the houses with you. Again, go take your test. Find your tribe through the Harry Potter universe, and let us know what house you're in, and if you think it really describes you. Do you think you belong in another house? What do you think about that? I hope you enjoyed Bishop being on the video. I really think that we'll do that again because it was fun. It was fun. I love doing that. I don't know. It was just a really good time. And so next week, our video and well, I've already written the article. It's going to be all about Severus Snape and attacking that question about if he's redeemable or not. And we'll also talk about Harry's first experiences in some of his classes, and just getting to know Hogwarts in general. So stay tuned. I'll see you next week on Muggles and Mocha, and bring your coffee. I'll see you next time.